Two, one. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, T. I'm joined by my partner, Danny. We're going to get into some NBA playoffs bets, okay? Danny, you want to kick us off?
So the bet which I actually put on yesterday, early yesterday, was the Pelicans to beat the Clippers in the play-in. We'll put a slip up to prove it. Was a 247, but then Paul George has been in the health and safety protocols. So that is now they're hot favourites now to win that. But I thought that was a good tip, you know. But yeah, obviously that's been turned around. There's not much value for people to follow, but I'm quite proud of that pick anyway. Hopefully it comes off, otherwise it will be disastrous. Other ones I like Miami Heat to win the title. I'm not saying I think they're going to do it, but I think paying like $11, even $12 is huge value. And they're a team that, you know, believes that they're a championship organization, championship team. They take their championship aspirations and levels very seriously. So they're definitely thinking championship and have been for a few years building up to this. So, I think that they're a real chance. I think almost every team has injury issues. So, I like the Heat there. Maybe a flyer on the Grizzlies as well, paying 15, 16, just for the fact that, you know, they're young, they're pretty healthy. They've got a really good coach as well. So, I think those are my some of my favorite bets. I also like the 76ers, probably still value at like $1.60, $1.70 to win their series. They're $1.60, but then you've got the Celtics at like $1.70 to beat the Nets. So those are things, maybe 5 bets there, or with, I think, putting something on. I would probably load the Celtics the most out of that, and the Heat the least.
Celtics, eh? Interesting take, mate. You know this guy, there's this player, his name's Kevin Durant. You heard of him?
I've watched him play on TV.
Good player, eh? And you want to load the Celtics.
Um, I think that there's a bit of a overpricing on the Celtics because the Nets, the Nets ceiling is really high, but the Nets have serious problems, and I think they don't go well against the Celtics. Curry's injured. That's a problem. Mills it's going to be hard to play because they're going to just destroy him on defense. So I think there's a lot of problems. And how many games can KD and Kyrie win on their own? Can they win 4 out of 7 against like a significantly better team? Maybe. I think if it goes to 7, maybe I'm liking the Nets in game 7. Give me 1 game, I'll pick the Nets. But give me 7 games, I think it's going to be really hard for them to just do it day after day after day against what is a significantly better team for pretty much this whole year.
All right, we'll take we'll pause. We'll come back to this, but we'll pause. I'll just quickly work through my bets, okay? First bet I had the Jazz to beat the Mavericks at $1.90. Okay, this one's probably not worth betting anymore. I was quick on this one, so I saw Luka Doncic get injured in the last game of the season. Quickly went and backed the Jazz at $1.90, 1,000 on at $1.90. So I'm pretty happy with that bet. I don't really see too many ways that the Mavericks win 4 out of 7 without Luka. Let's say he comes back, then maybe my perspective changes. But if he's out, I don't like them. Second bet, I bet on the Heat to win the East. Okay, I got Sixers. I think that's like pretty good odds. Okay, Sixers to win the East, and I took it 1/2, so each way. When I look at the first round matchup for the Heat, that's a 1 versus 8 matchup. In the last 30 years, 5 8 seeds have beaten the number 1 seed. And it's looking like it's going to be the Cavs are up 10 at half on the Hawks. That could be an interesting series, but I really don't see the Cavs winning more than 1 or 2 games versus the Heat. And then, prospective matchup with the 76ers in the second round. I think they probably get that. 76ers, they got this guy, James Harden, and Joel Embiid, not known for great playoff performances, especially the further along the games go. Embiid's shown a tendency to wear down, okay? He gets the big minutes load and then sort of can't perform at the end of games. Harden is, You can make a highlight tape of all those game sixes and game sevens and these games that matter, and it like wouldn't be good. Like just turnovers, missed shots. Yeah, I'm not keen to back James Harden to take their team very far. Plus, he hasn't looked good at all, like for the last month, unless he's got like some regeneration going on. Cool. So those are two bets. And I also backed the Clippers to win the West. I hate that bet. That's in the trash. That bet is in the trash now. Yeah. Yeah, they don't need to talk about that one anymore. But now we'll work through the series. You hear me, Danny?
I've got you nice and clear.
Oh, yeah, sweet as. That's us. Okay, so we're going to work through the series now. Just a quick pick and a few quick thoughts. So Danny's lent some of his thoughts on the Nets versus Celtics series. I'll add mine here, okay? So I'm with Danny. I back the Celtics, okay? It's really striking, the numbers, when you look at when KD and Kyrie are on the floor. The Nets are awesome. Like their record with KD in the lineup, great, winning team. But just like you said, it's just how are they going to play it, right? If you play Mills and Seth Curry, now you've got shooting. What kind of defense have you got? It's not very good. Jaylen Brown's going to go for 40. Okay, and then I didn't even know. Like, do you play Drummond and Bruce Brown? Now you got two guys that don't really shoot. So they're not. The Celtics pose a lot of questions. More so offensively. I think, defensively, the Celtics are awesome. Robert Williams has had a surgery. He's not confirmed, but he's a real key to their defense. So he's out. But I trust KD and Kyrie to navigate any defense. Okay, they're that good. That's how highly I rate those guys. And they could win a couple games for you by themselves. But it's just the supporting cast. It fits really well for scoring, but I just don't see how do they stop the Celtics, Okay, so if the Celtics are scoring 120 every game, well, yeah, fine. But I could see them scoring like 130, and then it just becomes, well, can the Nets score 140? I don't think so. It's a bit much. But yeah, so I'm going to go Celtics in 7. I'm going to go Celtics in 7. So I could still probably back the Nets plus 1.5 games if the odds are there. What do you reckon? What's your series prediction?
I'll take Celtics in 6. But I think like the 3 most likely, I'd say, is like Celtics in 6, Celtics in 5, maybe Nets in 7. Those would be like the 3 most likely outcomes from my viewpoint.
True. If it goes to a game 7, they've got the game 7. You don't want to bet against those guys in the game 7.
Yeah. I
might move off
that. But getting to there can be tough. All right. So what do we got next?
Then we're looking at 3-6 Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Who you got?
Bucks in either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. It just depends if do they just have a rest on game 4 on the road or game 3 on the road? Do they have a bit of a rest or do they go for it? Yeah, I don't see too much resistance here. Like, the Bulls traded for a bunch of guys that were, get them to the playoffs, got them to the playoffs, probably around where people thought, 5, 6, 7. But, from here, I don't think they're any match for, champion playoff, machine that is the Bucks.
Yeah, agree. Well, we can, I agree. I agree. I'll put some money on, we'll check the odds. Bucks in a sweep or Bucks at 4-1. I could see DeMar DeRozan and maybe Zach LaVine going off one game and carrying the Bulls to a win, but I don't like their chances throughout the season. I can't remember what the stat was, but I think they hadn't won a game against a team with a top 10 record.
Yeah.
So like that lets you know the teams they're beating up on are like the Rockets. They got a good record against those teams. Plus, Lonzo Ball's out injured. So when him and Caruso were in, I think the team's actually decent. I backed them to win more than one game, maybe 2 or 3. But he's a real key for them. And, LaVine's banged up. Vucevic gets killed by the Bucks. I've seen that heaps of times, seen that story play out there. We can probably move on from these guys. Now, bit of an interesting series here. Raptors versus the 76ers. Who you got, Danny?
I think 76ers in 6 or 7. So 6 is my pick, then my most likely to be them in 7. 76ers in 6, 76ers in 7, or Raptors in 7, I think. But yeah, I think 76ers clear advantage. Embiid too good. I don't know if Harden's a problem. Harden defending in the playoffs is a huge problem, and maybe Nick Nurse can game out enough. But I just think Embiid's too much, and the Sixers have a bit of momentum. They've got the talent. I just think the talent gap's too big. I don't think the coaching can make up for that much of a gap.
You don't like Doc? You don't like the DeAndre Jordan minutes?
No, I mean Doc is, he loves to get up 3-1 and lose. That's the thing that he likes to do. So he's not he's won a championship, and full credit to him then. But he has blown a lot of playoff series. And Nick Nurse is not the kind of guy who wins playoff series. He's the kind of guy who wins a title with an underdog team. So yeah, there's definitely a coaching problem for them. But I just think the players still matter the most, and Embiid is head and shoulders above everyone else in the series. So if Embiid goes down, yeah, they're cooked. And if Embiid plays all 7 games or less than that, if they finish it earlier, I don't see them being too much of a problem. Competitive, but I see a clear advantage.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. I back the 76ers as well. Matisse Thybulle was out. He's not vaccinated, so he can't play in Canada. But, I mean, the Raptors are probably going at James Harden every position of the game anyway. So, say Thybulle was on the guy that they wanted to get the ball, they'll just screen him with Harden's man, and Harden would switch. That's what he does. And that guy's going to go and get his 30 on good percentages. But then, like you said, Embiid, best player in the series, handily. I'll say that handily. Like, he's very good, and I don't really like who can defend him from the Raptors. No one. I can't see it.
No one.
He might score
Kings game.
35, 13, and 5. Or say they double him, he'll get 10 assists. So, yeah, I'm with you. Cool. So then we're looking at Heat Cavs or Heat Hawks. Looking like the Cavs are up 10 at halftime, but the Hawks have Trae Young. So, anything can happen there. But who do you like? First round in the East?
Yeah, it's tough. I think the Heat are a clear advantage over both of them. I guess, who's going to give them more of a trouble? Maybe the Hawks, if Collins is back. You've got, Trae's legitimate players gone in one series before. But I think, the Heat are just going to be too powerful, defense too good, too well organized, and they're going to expose. These are still 2 pretty young teams, so I think they're going to expose either one of them. I think the Hawks could win 2. I think the Cavs could maybe win 1. If Jarrett Allen's playing, I definitely think the Cavs could get 1. I don't expect to see them get swept. And I think, the Hawks are likely to win, a home game or 2 as well. So I don't see a sweep on the cards, but I definitely see the Heat progressing.
If you had to pick one coach, which coach would you pick for the NBA playoffs?
Maybe Nick Nurse, or a few years ago it would have been Steve Kerr. I wouldn't pick him anymore. I'm interested to see how Ime Udoka goes for the Celtics. I'm interested to see how Taylor Jenkins goes at the Grizzlies. But I think, it's hard to go past Nick Nurse at the moment. I'm trying to think if there's another. Monty Williams is, pretty interesting as well. He only had that 1 year last year, and was pretty good. Not amazing, but was pretty good. Did some pretty good things. So Nick Nurse or maybe Monty Williams with a few interesting, with an eye on the first timers, Jenkins and Udoka. The Grizzlies and the Celtics.
I'd take Spoelstra. Love that guy.
Yeah.
He's the best. The thing I like about him is, he doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. Well, once he finds something that's working, he just keeps doing it. Once he figures out, this guy can't defend, and then that's the pattern, the opposition's pattern, like their defensive scheme, boom, he just keeps going, mercilessly. Okay, I guess couldn't find anything against the Bucks last year, but they were the champions, right? But I like Spoelstra. I rate him highly. I think the Heat have got pretty strong hopes there. We'll move out west. I got Heat, regardless of the opposition. I've got Heat covering a -1.5 games, whether it be 4-2 or 4-1. Like you said, Trey, dangerous man, he led the NBA in points and assists in total. But
when was the last time that was done? Like 30 years ago or something?
Yeah, 40. I think it was Nate Tiny Archibald.
Archibald, yeah. Not many people have done that.
Yeah, I've never seen Nate Archibald play. That was a little bit before my time. But must have been a pretty good player. Good player. So we'll move on from that series. I think that's pretty straightforward. The Heat versus the 8th seed. 2-7 in the West. We got the Grizzlies versus the Timberwolves. Who you got, and what's the series score, Danny?
I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be like maybe 4-1, maybe a sweep. Assuming Morant plays all the games, which he should. Yeah, I think there's some, like, the things the Grizzlies are awesome at, like transition and rebounding, are the things that the Timberwolves are awful at. Transition defense and defensive rebounding. Yeah. That's not great, because it's not like the Wolves have huge advantages in the other areas. It's like they kind of compete in other areas, and then like their two weaknesses, these guys are like the best in the NBA at. So Ja Morant, best player in the series, I think, by some length. I think I'm happy to say he's better than Karl Anthony Towns, who I don't rate as highly as other people. And I also think probably two pretty good coaches, actually, like two legitimate coaches, but they're really first times in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how aggressive they are in their coaching, or do they stick to their kind of systems. Maybe that could be a way the Timberwolves get an advantage if the Grizzlies coach is a bit timid and they make aggressive changes. But I don't see many parts of the Timberwolves here. Looking forward to seeing Edwards play playoffs, see what he's about. It's probably the highlight. And I think Ja Morant's going to be amazing, but I'm interested to see how Edwards, fronts up.
Or what?
I'm interested to see how Edwards fronts up. Yeah, and 4-1. I think I got to go 4-1. I don't think I can say 4-zip. It just doesn't feel right, but it's definitely the closest. Yeah, that's maybe a sweep. No, 4-1. Let's just play 4-1, mate.
I'm with you. I see those same, caveat being Ja Morant is healthy. So he's had a little bit of rest now. He was patchy towards the end of the season, games in, game out, game in, game out. He's had a little bit of time off. If he's healthy, I think the Grizzlies do a number on the Timberwolves because of the reasons you stated. So their strengths are the Timberwolves' weakness. Okay, so the Timberwolves like to play at pace, but don't get back on D-trans. Well, whether that be a scheme of the guys are hitting the boards, or they're just like, okay, shot goes up and they're just a bit slow mentally to decide what to do or get back and man up. I don't know why, but the other teams, opposition teams, I saw the Pacers score like 130 against them with like a D-League roster. So if the Pacers do that to you, what do you think's going to happen when the Grizzlies come into town? And then, on the other end of things is Karl Towns, their best player. I would argue in this playoff series, Anthony Edwards will be their best player. Like Karl Towns, I'd be surprised if he can go to work against Jaren Jackson, Steven Adams. The numbers say that centers have pretty good success against the Grizzlies, but I think, playoff defense and like all that time to scheme for him, just thinking about defending that guy every game, I think the coach will come up with something pretty special. And I don't think Towns has the mental makeup for it, to be honest with you. Like, I've seen him just crumble. That can't be your best guy, man. Like, Anthony Edwards, he looks like a badass. Like, that when I was watching him versus the Clippers, that guy, he's got it. Airball 3, come back, doesn't matter, go again. Whereas Towns,
that's what you want, right?
Towns looked like he was struggling in the first half, missing shots, and then he wanted out. Like, he was like, man, how can I get out of here? He did this like his 6th foul, so he's on 5 fouls, 6th foul of the game. Paul George is going up for a rebound, and he just jumps over his back, like, badly fouls him. Looked like a guy that didn't want to be there, Like, he's played a lot of games. He knows not to do that, but did it anyway. And then, Pat Bev, that's the leader. A lot of talk, but, 10 points in a game, 10 points per game in the playoffs only get you so far, 10 points and a few words, unless the Grizzlies take the bait. So, yeah, I like the Grizzlies. I like the Grizzlies in the sweep, and I'll probably put some money on it at the best price. If I can get, I don't know, $6 odds, I'll take it. I know they're about $1.20 to win the series, but
yeah,
I probably won't take the $1.20 just in case Shah gets injured or something. But if I can get bigger odds, 4-0, give me some of that.
Yeah,
3-6, Golden State Warriors versus the Denver Nuggets. Who you got?
I think the Warriors here. Yeah, I mean Denver's missing guys, right? There's missing guys. Murray and Porter. They're all missing. So if the Denver had their team, I actually would be inclined to say Denver. I think they're getting better every year in terms of their scheme and their coaching. Like the coach seems to be growing into a playoff winning guy, which is really interesting. But they just don't have the legs. And the Warriors have revamped. I think they know how to ramp up. So I don't know if the Warriors could go all the way. I don't know if they have the legs for that. But I don't think a first round series is going to cause them too much problems. Is Jokic good enough to win 2 games? Yeah, probably. Just on his own. So I might say Warriors in 6, but then I might say 3 most likely: Warriors in 6, Warriors in 7, Nuggets in 7. I think this is a game that's 6 to closer, not 6 towards a 5 sweep.
Man, you reckon? Okay, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Okay, Jokic MVP, maybe my favorite player, gonna get swept. Okay, I'm leaning to that, right? If I had to bet it, that's the way that I'd bet. We think back to last year's playoffs, swept by the Suns, okay? And it's the same kind of thing. Okay, on one side, you've got Jokic and Austin Rivers and Facundo Campazzo and Monty Morris. And on the other, you've got the Splash Brothers and Jordan Poole. He's playing at an elite level. So it's similar to the theory of the Grizzlies versus the Timberwolves. The Golden State Warriors' strength is their backcourt, their passing movement. If they put Jokic in pick and rolls, like what Chris Paul and Devin Booker did, I think they can execute that sort of thing, and then they're just going to get torched because the guards aren't good enough. That's my opinion. That's where I'm going with it. Obviously, big caveats if Steph's injured, or he was injured. I'm just assuming that he's going to be healthy for the playoffs, but I really don't like the Nuggets. I love Jokic, the man, but how many games can one guy win by himself? Could I see him averaging 2? Is that good?
I think 2. He's pretty good. And the thing is, because he's going to get people open shots every single game. So the real question is, how many games can they hit shots? And I think the answer is 2 out of 7 or 2 out of 6. I don't think it's 4 or 5. If you have better guys, maybe. But I think he's going to get them those shots every game, regardless. It's just how often can they hit. And I think, and I don't think the Warriors are going to be able to stop that. I don't think they're going to be able to stop that. And also the Warriors are not amazing at pick and roll either. They can do pick and roll, but, they're not as good at pick and roll as they are at their kind of flow style. So
their flow style.
They're still going to exploit him.
Yeah,
they're still going to exploit Jokic. So
the defensive metrics say that he's good, but don't point at that, right? Watch the game. Watch what he's doing. He's okay. He's acceptable. That's not the thing that he's great at. The thing that he's great at is offense. He can literally score every single place on the floor. You can front him in the post, doesn't matter. He'll get on the wing. He'll dribble it up himself. He can do everything. I love that. Passes on point. He's just getting guys rich. Great offensive rebounder. Great touch around the rim in the mid-range, and he strokes the 3. So, you can't make any argument against Jokic's offense at all. It's MVP. He's good. He's the man. But, like I said, their guards, not good. Can't make shots. I think the Golden State Warriors guards will tear them up. They're going to make shots all series long. And, I'll have a look at the odds, but I'll probably I think it was about $4 for the Nuggets to win the series. Same as the Timberwolves, like bigger odds, and I'm not keen.
Nah, they're not even close. Like, yeah, I think there's a clear advantage to the Warriors. So how much do you say sweep? Warriors in a sweep.
Warriors in the sweep, and you got Warriors 4-2.
6.
Yeah, Warriors in 6. All right. Then we're on to the Jazz versus the Mavericks. Who got Danny?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Like I feel like 7 games is a good prediction here, assuming Luka can come back mid-series. So, yeah, my real thinking is how many games can Luka miss and they still go to 7? You know, if he misses 3 games, are they down 3-0? Maybe. Maybe they're down 2-1. Maybe they can get one at home. So, tough. So tough to know about. I think
the average
16.
time frame for that half to give player out is 16 days. So that sort of lines up with out for 3. Oh, wait.
3 out for 3, yeah. And I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I think I want to say Mavericks would win because I just feel the Mavericks are so much better than the Jazz. But the Jazz have also, had some pretty interesting games last month. Got some big leads against good teams. So I think I have to say Jazz in 7. I think they've got to, until Jason Kidd proves himself as being remotely adept at playoff coaching, the Jazz have a huge advantage there. Plus no Luka. So I think without Luka, the Jazz are probably a little bit better. Dallas have home court. Jazz have a better coach. There's a lot of things cancelling each other out. I think Jazz in 7. I think I have to go Jazz in 7. If Luka plays in game 2, pretend I didn't say that. Pretend I said the Mavs will win. But if most likely Jazz in 7.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna go Jazz gentleman sweep. Okay. Based on Luka not playing. Okay. That's based on Luka not playing. Why? They made the conference finals last year. Like the Jazz, they're like top 10 off it. They're a really good team actually. And when you look at it and you line it up, the Jazz's 5 against the Dallas Mavericks 5 without Luka, I don't see I don't see many paths to victory for the Mavericks. Like, what does Dwight Powell become without Luka? What does Reggie Bullock become without Luka? So now you're looking at a lot of Jalen Brunson. I rate Jalen Brunson. He's good. He can get his own shots. He can get some other guys going, but not, Conley's better. Donovan Mitchell's better. Jordan Clarkson, he's probably better too. So then you're looking at it, and then you got Bogdanovic. He's sort of like a rich man's Reggie Bullock. Like, they're similar games, but I'd lean to Bojan Bogdanovic. And then Gobert, he's elite player, awesome player. There was some complaints from him about, Donovan Mitchell not passing him the ball, passing the ball 2 times a game. That's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Just defend and rebound. And then the 2 times he passes to you, dunk it. There's a reason they're not passing it to you on the block. But if he just focuses on the things that he can do, like alley-oops, putback dunk, offensive rebound, kick out 3, these types of things, great team. No issues with the team whatsoever. And then Royce O'Neal, he's their stopper. That's like a pretty maybe below league average type wing stopper, but still much better than what the Mavericks have got. That's my point. That's a good team. That's a team that could win a few series actually. When I really look at it, that's us.
Yeah, all right. That's every series covered, right? What about a long view? Who's your most likely to? Oh, did we miss one?
Suns Pelicans. That's a sweep.
Yeah, can the Pels win? And it's either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. But yeah, different level. Suns different level. Rightfully so, the number 1 seed. Pelicans going to limp in. Well, I think either way, all Clippers. Clippers could maybe win a game or 2 if this Paul George just really performs that well. But
he's got COVID, so he'll be out a week. He's going to miss the first 2 games. Oh, true. They go back to LA. Paul George goes for 40. They
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, I can't see the Suns having to play more than 5 games in their round one.
That brings me to another bet. I don't mind the Suns to win the West at over $2 odds. Like, I think, they'll start all their series as heavy favorites, maybe, $1.10, $1.20. So, if you're getting $2 for them to win the whole West, that's pretty good. I like that bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think if all the teams are healthy the whole way, if that happened, I would think the Suns are the most likely to win the NBA. I think, teams that lost it the year before have a real drive, really improve, and they seem to have done all that. They seem to have gone from the team that came second, made the changes they needed to make, even though they couldn't, keep the roster exactly how they wanted. But obviously you've got like Aiden's got injury issues, Chris Paul has injury issues. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to pick them as the most likely when you're not like, can Chris Paul get through the playoffs? That's a big question,
They did pick up JaVale McGee. I think that's Shaq did a full this and that, but I think that's a really key pickup for them because in the non-18 minutes last season, postseason, there's a lot of Frank Kaminsky, and I think he had like maybe 1 or 2 really good games, but just not enough, just not enough consistent performance. But JaVale's been pretty good in his opportunities this year. So I think the Suns have gotten better, actually. Yeah. I think they've got a better postseason chance than last year.
I think as long as those two stay healthy, I think they're got the best chance of being on the league. I really do. I think they've got the coach for it. They've got the talent for it. They've got the motivation having lost last year. They've got a lot of things that other champions have had. Yeah, they're pretty good offense and defense when it comes down to it, when they really lock in. So, yeah. But Celtics are interesting as well to win the title. They might be too early, might be a year too early for them, or even 2 years too early, but they're interesting. And then the Grizzlies are interesting, because maybe they could be the most healthy team, which might, like when the Lakers won their title, was it was the easiest title in recent memory. They just kind of rode in, stayed relatively healthy, and then just won the title almost by default when they were probably not even a top 5 team in the league, 2 years ago.
Yeah, there's a few things I like about the Grizzlies. One is their depth, okay? So, they have a few different options that they can go to. So, Melton is really good off the bench. Their backup point guard, Tyus Jones, really good off the bench. Then they got pretty good wings. They got Dylan Brooks and Desmond Bain. Up front, they got Jaren Jackson Jr., leads the league in steals and blocks, but also pretty, he can do a few different things, which is really good in the playoffs. So say you need him to switch all the pick and rolls, he can do it. Say you need him to high heads or you need him to drop, he can do all the different kinds of defense because elite athlete, elite tools, and he's getting smarter. He's fouling a little bit less. And Steven Adams, he's a weapon. He can match probably any bigs. I really like the Grizzlies actually because of their depth. I think you mentioned it before. One thing is they're pretty young. It might be a bit early for them, and they have that other thing that I like to bet on. They have one really awesome player that could be the best player in the series. That's a factor that I like to go to. It's okay, last 5 minutes of the game, it's going to be in one guy's hands. Who is it? Ja Morant. That's a pretty good one guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. When I bet on him for Rookie of the Year, when he won that, to me, it was obvious, he's the guy, He's got all the things, as long as he doesn't get hurt from his, crazy athleticism, like Derrick Rose, he's got it all to be, maybe best player in the league, maybe definitely best point guard in the league, He's got all those accolades. They're in front of him, if he can stay healthy for sure. And, he could be an unstoppable playoff player. He's got the tools. He's not an amazing shooter, but it's not that bad, it's not that bad. So, yeah, man, I'm really excited to watch him play playoff basketball. I'm really, I think it could be a bit of an announcement to the league,
Yeah, last year he went and they beat the Jazz in the first game. I think Jazz were 1 seed, and then they went in there and Gar might have been 30 and 10. Or, it was a big game, and, they were talking all their trash. I think the difference between them and the Timberwolves is like, they can back it. The Grizzlies can really back it in a few different ways. The Timberwolves are out there, but they're not good. All right, so you had to pick one. Who's winning it all this year, Danny?
Okay, most likely to win. Most likely to win. I'm gonna say Milwaukee. Milwaukee Bucks. Most likely to win.
You stole my pick.
sorry. But obviously it's correct then. If we both think it must be true.
I think so.
Why
yeah.
do you think so? What's your reasoning?
I've already seen it happen before, right? Like, they can play really elite defense. Then they've got Giannis, like an absolute force, and they've got a guy that's good enough in Chris Middleton as your last 5-minute kind of ISO guy. Then, yeah, like maybe their wings are a bit. I don't like their wings. Like I don't like I like Grayson Allen for his shooting, but he doesn't really. And then Connaughton, I don't know, but I like Bobby Portis off the bench, and yeah, I've already seen him win, so I got to go Bucks. Like I bet on the Heat to win the East, 1/2 for that reason. Okay, just in case the Bucks run into some problems in the second round against, say, the Celtics or the Nets. That's tough, right? And then they did a demolition job on the Heat last year. That's why I bet the 1/2. Or even if they make it next and then they get, say the 76ers get through. I think I like the Bucks to take care of the 76ers because they got a lot to throw at Embiid. Really good front line. And then Drew Holiday can defend James Harden. So it's like, wow, who's defending Giannis? No one. But yeah, so we're together, eh? Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks I think there's some qualifiers. Bucks most likely. If everyone was healthy in a perfect world, Suns. Best value, Heat. That's kind of my three things. But at the end of the day, I think the Bucks have the best chance, given the factors of injuries and youth and all these kind of things we talk about.
Yeah. I think, okay, that's the way we're going to do it. I'm going to go from here. I'm going to put a bet on the Bucks, actually. I think you can get about, man, let me check. I had a bet on them last year at about $7 and it came up, which was good. And I still like them for the same reasons, really. Like, yeah, so I think, Bucks, eh? Bucks to win it all.
So bet by default. Yeah, Bucks to win it all.
But, all right, that's us in our recap. Those are all our picks. We had our bets up front. I'll check those slips up. But, that's us, team. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, Danny. Catch you later, bro.
All right. See you, everyone.